สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. So a while back, I made a recipe that I called Thai Sukiyaki, which is a noodle soup that is our version of the Japanese Sukiyaki. So in that video, I mentioned that there are a few other different variations. And so today, I am going to show you the dry suki, or what we call suki hang. And that is basically the stir-fried version of that dish. It's actually the one that I prefer. Like when I go to a restaurant that sells suki, I always order the dry version. So why didn't I show you this first? I don't know, but here we are. I'm going to show it to you right now. Super easy. Let's get started. I'm going to start first by marinating my chicken. So for the protein, you can use whatever protein you want, chicken, pork, beef, seafood, really popular too. I'm just going to do chicken breast because I happen to have some in the fridge and I need to use it up. So when it comes to chicken breast, do not cut them too thin. This is the mistake a lot of people make when they stir fry with chicken breast because it dries out really quickly. If you cut them really thin, you don't give yourself any time before it dries out. Simple marinade. I have got soy sauce. Gotta smell it. I prepped this yesterday and I don't remember what it is. Oyster sauce, just a touch of sesame oil because that is the flavor of our suki sauce. So we want to reflect that same flavor in the chicken. This is not gonna work, so let's do tongs instead. So you want to do this first so it has some time to just sort of sit and hang out and absorb. Now let's make the sauce, which is the most important part of this. You cannot have a suki without this sauce. So I've made this before in my original Suki Nam version. This is the same sauce, but we'll do a quick review, okay? I've got some garlic cloves here, which I'm gonna pound into a paste with some Thai chilies. You can make this as spicy or as not spicy as you want. You can omit it altogether. Pound it into a paste. You can throw everything into a blender if you want. I'm gonna throw in now some sugar. The sugar will add some friction, which will help the garlic grind more finely. And then I'm going to add some toasted white sesame seeds. Crush it gently just to help it release the aroma. You still want to see whole sesame seeds. So now this is what you've got. Next ingredient is the most important thing. So you really want to make sure you can find it, but it's not that hard to find. Just go to a Chinese grocery store and you look for red bean curd. It comes in a glass jar and inside you get these mushy cubes, red cubes like this. This is what gives it the key flavor of suki in Thai. This is called tau hu yi. And so I'm just gonna add these cubes into my mortar here. And I'll leave the liquid for later so that it doesn't splash everywhere when I try to smoosh these things down, which I forgot to do last time and I have learned. Now that it is a really sticky paste like that, I'm gonna add all the liquid ingredients, which is the juice from the bean curd, some white vinegar, and some soy sauce. I say that as though it were the last thing, but it is not, because you also need toasted sesame oil. Very important. So that's it. That's all you need. And ideally, you want to make this ahead of time as much as you can. Do it the day before, but if you can, do it like half an hour before. It gives the garlic and the sesame, it gives it time to mingle, the flavors to mingle with one another. I find it tastes better that way. You can make a whole bunch of this and keep it in the fridge. It'll last you forever. Well, not literally forever, but you know, a very long time. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the other ingredients real quick. The ingredients look exactly the same as the soup version if you've made that before, because this is simply just a stir-fried version. So I got glass noodles, which I have soaked in room temperature water for about 10 minutes until it's completely pliable, and I just cut it a few times to shorten the noodles so that it's easier to eat. For suki, we always use glass noodles. You can substitute if you want, but it's not gonna be the same. We never have suki with any other noodles except glass noodles. Vegetables, classically we do Napa cabbage, and this is morning glory, also known as water spinach, or in Thai pak bung. If you can't find it, you can just do any dark green vegetables like bok choy would be good. And then Chinese celery is typical, but I can't find it, so I just use regular celery, and then I just add more leaves in. It's a good way to use celery leaves, which most people don't end up using. And then you've got a couple of eggs, and that is pretty much it. So I'm gonna start out by searing my chicken as usual. I'll wait for that to get hot. Not hot yet. That's how you test oil temperature. Okay, that looks hot. Yeah, that's hot. Okay, so the chicken goes in. And I'm gonna cook it all the way. So let one side sear. Then when it's about halfway done, we flip it, toss it around. So I'm gonna cook my chicken separately because I'm doing chicken breast, and so I want good control of the doneness. When I do chicken thigh, I usually just sear the outside and then throw everything else in after, because chicken thigh is a lot more forgiving in terms of doneness. Like, it's not gonna dry out if you overcook it a little bit. Chicken breast, not as much. So I just cook it all off, remove it, throw it back in at the end. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna turn that off, get the chicken out. Turn the heat back on. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. And I'm gonna go in with actually vegetables. Cook that down a little bit. And because the origin story of this dish is a hot pot, it's got a lot more vegetables than it does have noodles. So don't think of this as like, oh, a stir-fried noodle dish. It's really more of like a stir-fried vegetable dish with noodles in it. Okay, just get that a little bit wilted. I'm gonna go in now with my noodles. And then the sauce. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're just gonna cook all of that until the noodles absorb all the sauce. If it looks dry but it's not done yet, you can add a little water or chicken stock if you have it. Glass noodles do not take very long, so don't over water it. Okay, that looks good. We'll let that absorb all the liquid. Looking mostly dry. I'm going now push it to one side. You can add a little more oil if you want for the eggs. My eggs go in. I'm gonna break that. Throw that on top of the eggs. And just let it sit for a little bit so the eggs cook. Oh, don't forget to throw in your chicken too at this point, with all the juices and everything. And then we mix everything. Woohoo! Yes. That is a lot of chicken. And we're at home, so we can spend as much money as we want on protein. And that is it, you guys. I'm gonna kill the heat. Throw in some cilantro for garnish at the end, because cilantro makes everything look better. You can do green onions if you want. I'm telling you, there is just nothing that smells quite like Suki. And I just want to point out, notice how it looked like we added a ton of vegetables, but they wilt. And now it doesn't look like all that much. That's why we needed to add that much, because all of our vegetables are ones that shrink. Always extra cilantro on top, because cilantro makes everything look better. Now, I like to eat mine just like this. However, I always usually serve an extra side of the Suki sauce, so that if somebody thinks that this is a little too mild, they can pour a little extra Suki sauce on it to like really amp it up in terms of flavor. Now, let's see. You want to get some vegetables, some chicken. The egg is already mixed in there, so it's all good. Perfect. It's such a unique flavor. The chicken is super tender. That's because you take care to cook it separately, remove it. You got the noodles that's soaked in that sauce flavor, and the vegetables are kind of crunchy. So you got lots of flavors going on. Sweet and sour is sort of where this thing is at, but the funk from the red bean curd is so unique and nothing like you've ever had before. If you've never had red bean curd, it's a thing to try. Not that hard to find. If you go to a Chinese grocery store, it's a common Chinese ingredient. So make sure you look for that. Oh, and what do you serve this with? This is one of those dishes in Thai cuisine that's a one dish meal where you would order it and you just have this on its own for lunch. So it's really popular with like quick order sort of street vendors or like in a food court because it cooks really quickly and you just eat it for lunch. It's well balanced. It's carbs, protein, vegetable. It is just so good. If you've already tried the soup version, try this one because you already got the sauce. If you've never tried the soup version, try both because they are just different and delicious in their own way. The recipe, as always, will be on hatthaikitchen.com. When you make it, I definitely want to see a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so you don't miss an episode like this. And click the bell icon as well so you get a notification when I post a new video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal. Can Thor fly? Like, can he fly?
Not without his hammer.
No, the hammer, he rides the momentum of the hammer.
That's right.
He doesn't actually fly.
No.
Okay.
Although weirdly he's a god, so
Although he jumps really high.
To catch the...
He can jump from wherever and land wherever. Like he'll
Right,
jump from
okay.
like the top of Asgard
That's right.
down to the Bifrost
Yes.
or whatever. But he can't
to actually
take off.
fly. Right.
Yeah.
Good point.